There are many accusations against China in relation to the Ukraine war. This criticism against China is from the US and other Western countries. China has been criticized for maintaining a neutral stance, often perceived as a tacit support for Russia. Critics argue that China's position undermines international efforts to isolate Russia and bring an end to the conflict. There are claims that China has provided economic and diplomatic support to Russia, helping it mitigate the impact of international sanctions. This support is seen as a way for China to strengthen its strategic alliance with Russia at the expense of global stability. China has been accused of spreading Russian narratives and disinformation regarding the Ukraine conflict through its state-controlled media and diplomatic channels. This includes blaming NATO and Western countries for provoking the war and downplaying Russia's aggression. Allegations have surfaced that China might be supplying Russia with dual-use technology and equipment that can be used for military purposes, though there is no concrete evidence to support these claims. By not condemning Russia's actions and emphasizing sovereignty and territorial integrity principles selectively, China is accused of undermining international law and norms. China condemned these accusations and criticisms. China defends its position. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi held talks with Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba in the southern Chinese city of Guangzhou on Wednesday. The Ukraine crisis has entered its third year, with the conflict ongoing and risks of escalation and spillover still present. As the highest-ranking Ukrainian official to visit China since the outbreak of the conflict, the discussions and the signals sent during the talks, as well as whether there are signs of peace in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, have garnered international attention. Particularly in light of China's successful mediation efforts in re-establishing diplomatic relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and promoting internal reconciliation of Palestine, there are heightened expectations for China's constructive role in promoting peace talks in the Russia-Ukraine issue. As part of China's recent diplomatic efforts to mediate international and regional hotspots, China's proactive invitation to Kuleba to visit has garnered international attention. According to Reuters, citing Ukrainian accompanying officials, the talk lasted over 3 hours, longer than planned, and was very deep and concentrated. The word deep is rarely used in diplomatic settings. In a statement after the meeting, the Ukrainian side stated, "China's role as a global force for peace is important." This reaffirms China's role as a peacemaker and highlights the effectiveness of the meeting. As a direct party to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Ukraine has shown greater interest in China's positions than before. This has led international public opinion to maintain cautiously optimistic about the direction of the Russia-Ukraine issue and to pay more attention to China's role in major regional conflicts. Even Western media, which often distorted and smeared China's stance on the Russia-Ukraine issue, is now speculating whether China intends to preempt the US in playing the role of peacemaker. These discussions in various directions all confirm that China's efforts to promote peace are increasingly prominent and have become an acknowledged reality in the international community. The distortions and slanders against China by the West have largely fallen apart on their own. The fairness of China's position has been once again validated, and China's proposals have withstood the test of time. Western efforts to stoke the fire have only prolonged the conflict. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated in a recent interview, "We have to finish the war as soon as possible." More and more signs point to the fact that the resolution of all conflicts will ultimately return to the negotiating table. All disputes will eventually be resolved through political means. This is precisely what China has consistently advocated. China maintains an objective and fair stance and is committed to mediation and promoting dialogue. Second, China adheres to the concept of common, comprehensive, cooperative, and sustainable security, working tirelessly to maintain world peace, stability, and development. In the face of crises, China does not stoke the flames or take advantage of the situation for its own gain. This stance is visible to the international community and the parties involved in the conflict. China's stance is clear and consistent. Between peace and war, it chooses peace. Between dialogue and sanctions, it chooses dialogue. Between cooling down and fueling the fire, it chooses cooling down. On the Ukraine crisis, China remains straightforward and sincere, without political self-interest or geopolitical manipulation. China is truly dedicated to mediation and promoting dialogue to achieve a ceasefire and an end to the conflict. Influential major countries, in particular, should align with China to create conditions and provide support for direct dialogue and negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. Only when major powers contribute positive energy rather than negative energy can there be an early glimpse of a ceasefire in this conflict.